Hello, YouTube. AKC album reviews here, and today back with another review. Today I'm reviewing Brown Sugar by D'Angelo. Who's D'Angelo? Well, D'Angelo is a part of, along with Erykah Badu and Maxwell, one of the leading leading figures in the neo soul movement. And he's one of the legends. He's one of the legends. He only has 3 albums out. At one point, he was part of this group called the Soul Aquarians, which had a whole bunch of like conscious hip hop type people, like Black Thought, Jay Dilla, Erykah Badu, him. What was it? I think Shaheed from A Tribe Called Quest. Just a whole bunch of these people who did like jazz rap stuff, soul stuff, singers, all these kind of like conscious East Side people. Also, Mos Def was a part of this group too. And D'Angelo, he came up on the scene, and he was already into music before this and everything. He was already part of 2 other groups. One of them was a hip hop group. He worked as a producer, and he already knows how to play. At this point, he already knows how to play piano. This was his debut album, and wow, for a debut. This is some of the best soul I have ever heard. Some of the best neo soul, some of the best R&B I've ever heard. There's so many different actually styles on here that it's kind of insane, in my opinion. And he just comes through with just amazing stuff. And talking about just various ways of love and loving and everything. And yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it with the song "Brown Sugar," which at first kind of sounds like a love ballad between a girl and a girl and D'Angelo, but it's actually the girl actually turns out to be weed and marijuana actually. And I kind of like that because it could have just been a typical love song, but he decided to do it to weed. And I think that's just funny and cool. But I think what really gets me here is that first of all, like everybody knows to say something about this album and about D'Angelo. His voice, smooth like butter. All throughout this album, it's so smooth, it's so soft, it's so sensual. But at the same time, like it's just amazing. It's just amazing singing performances on stuff like Lady, When We Get By, Cruisin, Me and Those Dreamin' Eyes of Mine, Brown Sugar, just everywhere on here. He just, in some way, he just shows off his vocal capabilities as well as his production capabilities, because pretty much D'Angelo pulled a Prince and pretty much did almost everything on this album, from the piano to the guitar, to all the arrangements. He was a writer, like all of it, pretty much all of it. And again, Brown Sugar is just a really good show of this. Because first of all, what you notice is that the bass on here is wow. The bass on these tracks, the bass melodies on some of these tracks, it's super prominent. It's in your face. It's really nice. It gives it like this really cool, like really smooth, mellow kind of late night type of vibe, type of feeling. Like on songs like Smooth, All Right, and Cruisin'. Lady especially, being the biggest track on here, for very, very good reason. Not only does it have a really, really catchy melody, not only does it have like the really cool lyrics that remind me of my girlfriend, but just the way how the bass moves around the song, dun 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 dun. It's just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. It just has such a cool rhythm to it too. Another one I like is Smooth. Wow, this is just trip hop. There's a lot of trip hop influence. I don't know if it was intentional. It probably was not, but there is so much trip hop influence, like on the song "All Right." It's how, again, just with the really nice like low bass kind of sound, kind of dubbish in a way. Dun 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 dun. And if you go to percussion, it just has like really kind of a reggae type of sound, but like no, it's definitely just trip hop, and wow, it's just amazing. Also, I love all the intros on here. The intro to Smooth is just so beautiful and kind of orchestral in a way. Same thing with All Right too. Me and Those Dreamin' Eyes of Mine as well. Well, probably being the most like radio friendly one. All the ladies the most popular. I would say this is probably the most radio friendly one in the way how the track is composed. Having a really good like just chorus verse chorus. Compared to some other tracks like, for example, Cruisin', or Smooth, which kind of are Cruisin, Smooth, or When We Get By, which are kind of more repetitive in a way. This one does have more of like a chorus verse chorusing, and wow, the group vocals of his vocals coming in, just taking the show was really nice. Same thing was just his singing as well, kind of just talking about the longing for like this girl, and like wow, you make my eyes dream, and like make my eyes dream, like, and everything. And also like the subject matter on All Right as well, kind of just being again a reassuring track about like everything, despite arguments and everything. Everything in the relationship is going to be all right. And I like that type of stuff. I like that type of optimistic stuff and thinking and everything. Shit, Damn Motherfucker is one of the best tracks on here. It has a kind of a funny title, and that's because the track is kind of silly. I mean, like, yeah, sure, it's soulish, so like, sometimes it can come off as kind of like serious, I feel like, but this is kind of just like a silly track in my opinion, because it literally just talks about him finding both his best friend and his wife like together, and then he kills them, and then he's like, oh, I'm in cuffs now, and that's just the whole track. But again, instrumentally it comes through like this really cool like funk inspired instrumentals. What I noticed about this album is that they all have a similar vibe and a similar sound, but they're all just applied to different genres. For example, When We Get By has a really cool vocal jazz, almost jazz popish type of sound, with a really like kind of elastic, like saxophone, elastic sax. And the really nice pianos. Also, the piano playing on here is amazing. Since D'Angelo knows how to play piano, obviously he did the piano a lot on here. The piano on Smooth, on When We Get By, on Lady, on Higher, just almost on every track on here. It's just great. It has like this really cool dusty but also clean type of sound to it. Some other cool subject matters I like about on here, which again, it's all about love and everything. For example, love, but like again in different ways, and how he expresses that. For example, in Cruisin, which could be, I feel like, can be interpreted as a sexual type of thing, but also could be cruising in a way of like getting high. Getting high with the loved one, getting high with your love and everything, which honestly wouldn't be too, which actually isn't really too big of a stretch, since Brown Sugar was also on here, and obviously he has a history of weed and everything. So yeah, and this track is also just so different instrumentally from everything else as well, having more of again like a orchestral type of sound, and it's more on the soul side than the neo soul side. It's just wow. This is also one of my favorite tracks on here. Because like the build up to the end, where it's just super passionate and everything, it's just really nice. Smooth, again, like I said, just has a really cool, nice stumping, nice stumping type of beat and rhythm, while also having the subject matter of like, D'Angelo playing this character who gets what he wants, but then it turns out this girl that he meets is like way different. It's way different. It's like, oh man, you're so smooth, you're so cool, you kind of take control, and I'm used to taking control, and it's a very, very interesting track. But man, is that beat not so good, especially with the guitar, the little guitar dun 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 dun, dun, and the really kind of boom bap-ish type of drum, since this is neo soul, which I'm sorry to explain. Neo soul is a combination of hip hop, soul, some electronic, just kind of like a mixed drum. Think of trip hop, but instead of like electronic and hip hop, it's more of like soul and hip hop, if that makes sense, with other influence as well. And that's why kind of a lot of earlier neo soul records kind of are reminiscent of trip hop in a way. Not every single one, but a lot of them are. Another track that is probably my least favorite track on here is Jonz in My Bones. Not that it's bad, not that the subject matter is bad. I just think that it kind of drags a little bit. And I do think that like the weird like synth sound throughout is kind of just okay. Again, the bass here is good. I think his vocals being more again sensual and whispery also helps with the track as well. Gives it a cool, really different atmosphere. And I think it's a great track. I just think it's my least favorite one here. Then with the closer, we go with the closer, Higher, which kind of touches on two aspects of I think love for God, but also love for a loved one. And I see this kind of as like as a wedding type of anthem, wedding type of theme, where it's like, our love is going to be looked over, by God. It's going to be on a higher plane of loving and everything. And I think it's just a really great track to end off the album. I won't say, now some couple criticisms I have about this album, since I do think this album is damn near perfect. It's pretty much perfect. but I do have some criticisms. I think that I can get a kind of drag, just a little bit, which could be a problem for Voodoo, since I'm going to review Voodoo at one point. And because Voodoo's a lot longer, this one is a little bit of a drag. Like Jonz and My Bonz is a little bit too long. But after Me and Those Dreamin' Eyes and Shit Damn Motherfucker, it just goes, and like it's just the pacing picks up really quickly. But it starts off super slow, in my opinion. And also think it can get repetitive, which I did say, which I do appreciate him using the same type of sound, but kind of applying it to different genres, like with Shit Damn Motherfucker, like with Me and Those Driven Eyes, like with Cruisin, like with Smooth, and like when we get by and everything. But again, sound can get kind of repetitive. But like, despite that, man, this is just extremely consistent soul music, neo soul music. Taking influences from a little bit of rock, maybe a little bit of soul, maybe a little bit of electronic with the trip hop, maybe even a little bit of hip hop as well. And just kind of all bringing it together to make, honestly, I think a really perfect type of soul record that there's no weaknesses for real. All the songs are just amazing, have really nice grooves and atmospheres and everything. The singing is nice, it's on point, and all the subject matter is varied enough for the type of genre that it is. So that makes me believe that I think this is a 10. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's extremely consistent. It gives you what you want. It gives you what you need. And it does it very, very well without, I think, lingering for too long. I think it ends perfectly at higher. Yeah, so strong, 10 out of 10. This is AKC. See you in the next review.